Hello, Feral friends. Welcome back to Feral. I'm your host, Savana Montana, and today we are talking about a little debate that I read on the New York Post about no ride, no date. I don't know if you guys also read the same article, but it's basically an argument about why men and women cannot agree on what effort actually looks like, which is very intriguing to me because I strongly agree with that point. We cannot agree on what effort looks like. And I don't even know that it's a women and men dynamic. In a lot of ways it is, but it's also as individuals. Effort looks different to everyone. How we give and receive effort is completely different in most relationships. So how do we get to a point where we can actually communicate, oh, that was solid effort? And I don't know why it looks so different for everyone, but it's a thing. It's a real thing. And I want to get into it with you guys today. So basically, we're going to discuss the matter of everybody wanting effort, but nobody agreeing on what effort means. Let's tear it up. Let me tell you who the fuck I think I am. You got a minute? Wow. So everyone says that they want effort, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody should want effort, especially in a relationship. You should want your partner to put in effort and go out of their way for you and make you feel special and just give a shit, right? I mean, it's kind of the bare minimum of being in a relationship with someone. So why has that become the problem in a lot of relationships? I think it's because we're failing to admit that we are grading you on a test that we haven't actually given to you. Just follow me here for a second. You know when somebody does something wrong and you're like, oh, that drives me insane, or that was the wrong way to do it, or I would do it this way, or that wasn't enough, or this is too much, or whatever it is. You have this whole set of rules in your mind on a test that you've given yourself for 30 years, but you didn't give it to the person that you're grading. So they're like, I think I'm doing this right, or this is how I would do it, or this is what makes sense in my mind because that's the level of effort I expect for myself or from myself or for me or whatever. But they don't know that what your level is. So how are you grading them on that? Because they don't know. They haven't taken your test yet. First of all, test is probably a terrible way to even put this terminology, but because we shouldn't be testing our partners, right? But we do. We test them all the time, mentally, emotionally, physically. We're giving tests, okay? So I'm just going to be blunt about it and call a spade a spade. But what I really want to get across is that we have to give them the test before we start grading them on it, or else they're always going to fail and they're never going to exceed our expectations of what the effort is that we actually want from them. Does that make sense? So before I dive further into this episode with you guys, we're going to play a game on par for the course. Effort or bare minimum. I'm going to decide. In your mind, you can decide because I feel like everybody's answer for this specific game is going to be different. We might be opposites. We might be on the same path. We might be 50-50. I don't know. But let's play, okay? Picking someone up from the airport. Bare minimum. That's not giving much effort. You should be picking up your spouse from the airport, okay? Unless it's like some crazy far drive and you have like an insane schedule that specific day, or it's 3:00 in the morning, then maybe Uber because you also love your partner and you're like, okay, this is kind of crazy. But outside of any of those, it's a bare minimum. You're picking up your partner from the airport. Let's get real. Sending a good morning text every day. I used to think it was weird. I don't need that much attention. I would just like to think, maybe I just assume in my mind you're thinking of me, but it is nice. So I'll give it some bare minimum. Like, that's cool. Some people do it, some people don't. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it is a sweet gesture. So if you're doing that every day, you just really love your person. Planning a date more than 48 hours in advance. Depends on the person. Honestly, for guys, I'm like thinking of men because I'm with a man. I would give it effort because my fiance does not plan dates. Ever. Doesn't matter if it's plus 48 hours or maybe 2 hours in advance. That would be more his style. He'd be like, hey babe, do you want to go to the guy pick? Yeah, so I'm just going to go with effort on that one. Yeah, we'll give it an effort. Remembering your coffee order, that is effort, okay? Not only remembering it, but actually going to a counter and ordering it and making sure it came out the right way. Like what I would do for myself, that's hot sauce. That's like the sexiest thing a person can do, I think. For me, anyway, Yeah, I'm giving A for effort. If you're doing that for your girl, chef's kiss. She appreciates it more than you know. And you would think that would be a bare minimum thing, but for me, it's not. And it's probably because my coffee order is redonkulous in every single way. I am very specific. I've given up on baristas at this point because it's got to be done just so. Posting your partner on social media. I think we give this way too much credit. I don't even want to say effort or bare minimum on this one. I just think it's not that big of a deal. The more you obsess over it, the bigger a deal it is for you. I've been the bad guy who didn't post my significant other on social media and it really hurt his feelings. I've been the girl who posted everything on my social media and was getting cheated on the entire time. And then I was also the girl that waited until I was engaged to ever post somebody on the internet with me ever again. So I've been on every single angle of that. And honestly, I'm not even rating this one. Just stop obsessing over it. It's so overrated. Like, if that's your hang up, you're the problem. Paying for the first date, bare minimum. And I'm saying bare minimum, men, you are paying for the first date. If a woman, and I know that I'm gonna get ripped for this, but I don't care. If a woman was gonna pay to take herself out, she would have just gone alone because she wouldn't have to entertain you or talk to you, or she wouldn't even have to leave her house. If she was gonna pay to take herself out on a date, she'd probably just end up staying home, cooking her own fabulous meal and watching what she wanted on TV. Men, you're paying for a woman to go on a date, or even if you're in a relationship. Will would never let me pay for a meal today. He would laugh at me if I even tried to whip out my wallet. He would actually get angry. But this is your sign. You know you're with a provider. If he's like, absolutely not, don't even look at your wallet right now. I'm paying for this meal. Yes, that is a bare minimum. Fellas, you are paying for a woman's meal. Excuse me, the first date and the second date and the third date and every date that is to follow for the rest of that relationship. Boom, there I said it. Driving 30 minutes plus to see someone. I would say that's effort, depending on where you live. But yeah, like driving, that's effort. That's not bare minimum. I think that's a nice thing to do because I don't want to sit in traffic for 30 minutes for anyone. So I'm going to give it an effort on that one. Calling instead of texting, effort. I can't stand texting. Texting is the bare minimum. Calling is like, oh, thanks. I actually get to hear your voice or see your face on FaceTime. Just, yeah, call. Effort is calling. People need to talk on the phone more. The texting is misconstrued and there's no personality in it and causes more problems than it's probably worth. That's how I feel about texting, which is probably why I never text anybody back. I'm an asshole. Moving on. Bringing flowers randomly, bare minimum. It's already random and it's a nice gesture. You should already be doing that. Guys who think to do that, they like you, they care about you. Girls like it, it's cute, it's sweet, and it's random. So yes, that's a bare minimum. That's bare minimum effort. Bring the girl flowers. Hello. And lastly, putting your phone away at dinner. Yes, bare minimum. You're here to talk to me. Who's on your phone right now? You can't sit down for 20, 30 minutes and have a conversation with me. No, that's a bare minimum. Put your phones away. And this is going to be like a rule one day when I have kids. I'm going to be like, put your phones in a bin. We're having family dinner. We all get to talk to each other. Hey, how are you? What's going on? How is school? How's your life? Get a job. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about it. Put your phone away during dinner. That is a bare minimum. That is not effort. That's bananas. Moving right along. So men and women often express and show and receive effort differently, right? We've already confirmed that. But I think that's because effort is typically measured by what we as a person value it as. So my value of effort and my boyfriend, my fiance, my husband, value of effort is going to be very different than mine. And I need to be able to understand what his is so that I can get that over to him. And he needs to understand what mine is so he can get it over to me. Capiche? Sorry, I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. My brain is like not working today. And this is so important because if you don't figure out how to do that, especially early on in your relationship, it will start to create resentment. Because you're not communicating your effort and your needs appropriately for your person to give them to you. So basically, you're only speaking your level of effort. And you're like, this is me, this is mine, this is how it works for me, so that's how I'm giving it to you. They're not going to read that. It's not going to go well. But before we can actually communicate it to our person, I think we have to be able to understand what it is that we need so that we can tell them and then also have the openness to ask them what it looks like for them and actually be able to deliver. That way both parties win in the relationship. Because all in all, these are just basic expectations. Whether we want to admit that we have expectations or not, we do. And these ones are pretty basic. Effort should be basic, like basic understanding anyway. For instance, if a man is driving 45 minutes to see you after work, but he only texted you one time during the day, would you consider that high effort or low effort? I feel like most women would be upset, or the younger girls would be upset that he's not texting me all the day, or I don't know what he's doing. He's not responding to me fast enough. He's spending all this time. I know people get really hung up on the texting shit, which I also find goofy, but I digress. If he's willing to sit in a car for almost an hour to come and see you, even though he only texted you once in that day, that means way more. I would give that a high level of effort. I don't need you to text me stupid bullshit throughout the day. Chances are I'm busy anyways. So maybe that's just me. Maybe someone's like, I would rather you text me all day and not even see me in the afternoon or after work or whatever the case may be. Everybody's different, but communicating that to the person you're in a relationship with is the key. Another example, what do you deem more romantic? A fancy dinner that he planned, or him remembering your order from that little coffee shop that you love so much? For me, I could give a shit about a fancy dinner. You know why? Because I'm the person in my relationship who plans everything. Every trip, every move, every car, he takes care of the Uber. Flights, it doesn't matter. Like if there's a date going on, you know Savana was behind it. And I'm good with that. I'm cool with that. I'm used to it. We jive that way. If this man could remember what my coffee order was and then thought, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to stop by a coffee shop today and I'm going to go get Savannah her favorite drink and then I'm going to bring it over to her. I would be smitten. I would melt into my coffee cup. I would be so happy. That is so much more effort, but that's also the type of man that I'm with. So for him to actually think and stop and do that would be miraculous. He's got a billion things on his mind today, and my coffee order is probably not one of them. So I would be blown the fuck away if he did something like that. That's where my effort is, though. Could be different for you. Your man could get you coffee at your favorite place every single day to start your day. And then, so it could be the opposite. You'd be like, oh my God, he planned us a special dinner and all this stuff. Like, you see where I'm going with this? So the real question is, for us as women, are we looking for actual effort, or are we looking for proof that we are special in the eyes of the person we're in a relationship with? I don't know. Could be both. Could be one. Could be the other. I like effort just in like basic, normal, day-to-day shit. Like, put your money where your mouth is. I'm with a person who does. So it's worked out swimmingly so far. But I also do think that there's a line of effort that I'm not talking about where it's just really consideration. It's not even effort. It's just going out of your way to make somebody feel special. And in the eyes of the person we're in a relationship with, we do want them to look at us and make us feel like we are the only person in the room. We're the only one that's here. Like, you know this about me because you pay attention and you know that that's my thing, or that's my jive, or that gets me. You know what I mean? So we have to give them their flowers, if you will. We can't just always be looking for the big effort game. Sometimes the most effort is put into the most simple terms and makes us feel the greatest about who we are with that person. And I know that dating apps is a part of this conversation because I think that they've made people feel like they have to give maximum effort to complete strangers that they haven't even met yet. And maybe that's true. I don't know. I haven't been on a dating app in 1,000 freaking years. But I also don't think that we can, as just humans in general, if you're still in the dating stage and you're not in a committed relationship yet, we can't just expect to receive husband level relationship material when you've only known this person for 4 fucking business days. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that to be offensive. Like, your person is going to show up as they are, but I have a 90-day rule. This is just my frame of thinking. I think this is probably actually scientifically shown that people can't pretend to be somebody for more than 90 days. So the first 90 days that you're dating someone or you're getting to know them, is usually the best parts. It's fun, it's beautiful, it's crazy, it's wild. You're like, oh, I really like this, and this. After 3 months, it starts to calm and it will just progressively get better, but in a quieter way. At that 90-day point, if you start to see cracks or changes or things that you don't like, those are the true colors of the person that you're dating, okay? And those are the ones to pay attention to. That's the husband level that you're looking at, because somebody can pretend to be sunshine and rainbows for about 90 days. Anything after that, if the sunshine and rainbows are not genuine, it will become a thunderstorm. I promise you. Every single time. It will. And if you're cool with being in the storm, you're like, you know what? I love rain, love lightning, love thunder. Then cool, ride it out. See if it changes. But if it doesn't, know that once you get into that long-term relationship where you guys make a commitment or you sign up to be boyfriend and girlfriend, you're bringing that storm along with you. So you better have a big ass boat to ride those waves, is all I'm saying. But yes, dating apps, they do over-exaggerate and falsify a lot of information for people. So I think that spending as little amount of time on a dating app to decide if you want to go on a date with someone is probably the best approach, so that you can know right when you meet someone and you sit down with them, there's either going to be chemistry there or there's not. And that's your answer. So make it simple. It could be coffee. It could be tea. It could be lunch. It doesn't have to be some fancy ass dinner. See if you're even compatible with them energetically, and then keep it moving if you're not. And if you are, then you're like, oh, this is great. I'll give you my phone number. We don't have to be on this dating app. Let's go on another date. Cool? Cool. And as far as the effort goes on every single scale that there is, I don't think that people are just lazy. I think that people are just investing in effort differently than we want them to, which is why it becomes a problem for us in our minds, or them. Now, I want to talk about the relationship scoreboard, because this I am a huge fan and not fan of. And you guys know what I'm talking about. If you don't think you know what I'm talking about, let me explain it to you. Nothing destroys attraction faster than secretly tracking points with your person. We can't keep tracking. We can't keep doing this. It's bad. It's unhealthy, but it's subconscious and we can't fucking help it. Okay? And I get it. You know why? Because I've been doing it. And you know how I know that you're doing it too? Let me explain. So you get in an argument with your spouse, right? And you're like, oh, well, this and that and whatever. They rip into you over some stupid shit while you're cleaning the kitchen right before you guys go to bed. I don't know what the situation is. Just put yourself in a dumb argument. And they rip into you about some shit. And then you go, oh yeah? Well, you didn't take the trash out when trash day came. And then you also forgot to pick up the dry cleaning. And then, oh, remember that one thing that I needed from the store that I asked you to get for me 4 times and then you didn't get it for me, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then you throw back like all these things that they fucked up on that you probably never even mentioned to them because it's not that big of a deal. That is keeping track. Subconsciously, your brain, as soon as they point something out to you that you've done wrong or that you failed at or whatever wasn't right, you go back into your little bowl of tricks and you go, oh, well, you didn't do this and you didn't do this and you didn't do this, because you're keeping score. You're tracking the points, you're building them up, and then you're throwing them into that argument, which is that's just lighter fluid on a really dumb argument. Ask me how I know. Even when I try not to do it, I probably still do it. We can't help it. We're doomed. No, I'm just kidding. You can stop doing that. But it does keep things a little spicy. I ain't gonna lie to you. Bad advice, Jesus. But yes, all of us do it. We secretly keep points on each other. We keep tabs on the mistakes so that later on, when we get in a dispute, we have something to throw back. And it's silly because it's honestly, they're usually really ticky-tacky, dumb little things that we bitch about that we keep score on. And it's just to make ourselves feel better or deflect in a moment when we feel like we're being attacked by our person because maybe they're just having an off day. But the effort was there mentally. It just didn't physically get done maybe. So if your man is planning every single date, but he's not posting you online, do you see that as a problem? Do you? I don't see that as a problem. I see that as putting in effort. He's planning a date. He's paying for it. He's there for you. He wants to spend time with you. All those things matter. Online shit does not matter. Online only matters if that person is online pretending to be single and not talking about you to his friends and to his family and texting other chicks in the DMs. That's sketch. You shouldn't be dating that guy anyways. Because the way that a person makes you feel in real life is what matters. Posting a picture of you on his story shouldn't matter that much. We have to have way more self-confidence than that. We cannot degrade a relationship based on what is posted on a person's Instagram account. That's fucking weird. And we've normalized that as a society, but we've got to change that, because how a person shows up for you is what matters more. What if Instagram or TikTok or YouTube deleted tomorrow? What if it was just the whole thing was shut down and it was gone? How are you going to feel about your person? You're like, well, they show up for me and they call me and spend time with me and plan dates for me, and they're really cool and they're really nice and like all these things. So why did online matter so much? That's just online. Real life matters more than online. Period. Point blank, end of story. I will die on that hill. We've got to give credit where credit is due and give men effort for really giving effort. And then we have to break up with the ones who don't. So fellas, you ask, if she never offers to pay when you guys are out or having a meal, does that automatically mean that she's entitled? Could be. I don't think so. I think it depends on the kind of man that you are, but I think most women, especially today, are leaning back into their femininity, and a lot of men do want a softer woman. And that's the polite thing to do. That's what men have been doing for years. Women want to be courted again. Women don't want to continue to go out of their way emotionally, physically, get all dressed up, put in all this effort, do all of this shit, and then you're like, and you want me to pay for it too? Why did I even come here? I could have just taken myself to dinner. I kind of talked about this earlier. I know it's probably not a popular opinion, but I don't care. Just because she didn't offer to pay for her own meal or pay for her and your meal does not mean that she's entitled. I'm not a bitch that's going Dutch. So I appreciate a bitch that also won't go Dutch. And I used to be that girl. That's why I can say that. I was fine with it. That's more of like an enmeshed like team. It's actually a very healthy relationship for you to do that. It's just getting to a different stage where you have different expectations inside of your relationship, make you view things differently. And you have to realize the role that you're in and what you're doing in your relationship. And as that role changes, your views on these things will change too. Because none of that stuff used to bother me before, and it doesn't bother me now. I just view it differently. I also think some people, according to the internet, treat texting like a customer service hotline now. And then other people are still playing that old school game where you don't text back for X amount of time, or you see their message, but then you wait 3 hours to respond because the ball's in your court. I get it. I did the same thing many, many moons ago. But the effort level of that is communication is everything in every single relationship, business relationship, family, friendship, any kind of relationship that you have with another human being is based on communication. So stop playing texting games and get with the program. When somebody reaches out to you, to send them back a simple message or response or something nice, or just even I can't talk right now, I'll text you back or I'll call you in a bit. Basic communication skills are the bare minimum. That is not giving maximum effort. And if you're playing texting games with somebody that you're in a relationship with, you're probably going to lose that relationship, or you guys are going to stay in some tumultuous garbage scene that nobody really, really wants to be in. Texting a person back within a reasonable hour or amount of time is the bare minimum. That's not maximum effort. It's not even effort. That's just basic necessity. That's a basic give a damn. That's just being respectful. And if people are still having issues with texting people that they're in a relationship with, we've got bigger problems. Maybe just ice that one out and keep it moving, because that's some middle school shit. I'm not even giving that at a high school grade. Or I get it back to the good morning, beautiful text, or texting your person good morning every single day. Is it actual effort, or is it just become a relationship equivalent to brushing your teeth? I think it's nice. I don't think it's a big deal either way. I think if that's the kind of relationship that you have, then that's a great thing, and continue to say good morning, I love you, whatever. Sometimes we do that in my relationship and sometimes we don't. It's, I would say 4 to 5 out of 7 days we say good morning to each other. But is it like, oh my God, they say good morning? No, but it's a nice little fuzzy message. It's like, oh, you're thinking of me so early in the morning. I love you. Mwah. It's nice. Make that normal in your relationship. That's super healthy. It's sweet. It's kind. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't give it a high level of effort and I don't give it a low level of effort. I give it just as a borderline. And think about it. Ask yourself this. Would you rather have someone in your life who texts you constantly throughout the day and never makes plans? or someone who barely texts you and consistently makes plans? For me, I am the second one. Will and I typically don't talk or text throughout the day. We're both busy doing our own thing. Making plans and spending consistent time together outside of our careers is more important to me. That's what works for us. So just ask yourself, ask your partner what works better for you. Or if you're in the dating phase and you're trying to look for someone, be real with yourself. What are you looking for? What is more important? Do you want somebody that talks to you throughout the day, or do you want somebody that makes plans to be with you in person? To each their own. There is no right or wrong answer. You just, for yourself, you need to know what your expectation is so that you can portray that to the person you want to be in a relationship with. That way they know the amount of effort that they need to put in and what is more important than you. I'm not saying that they're going to do it. I'm just saying for you to be able to communicate that is the key in receiving the effort that you're actually looking for. Because a lot of people don't actually want effort. They just want effort delivered in their preferred packaging in a nice little box with a pretty little bow on top. And they don't even know why or what it's for or what the purpose of it is. They just know it didn't show up the way that I wanted it to, or on time, or on the day that it said it was going to be here. So now I have a problem with it. And you're not going to get very far. We have to change our mentality around the effort that we give and the effort that we receive. So what actually matters? Maybe the healthiest question isn't, are they trying hard enough? Maybe the right question is, do we naturally value the same things? What is the actual compatibility of your expectations in the relationship that you're in? Are we properly communicating our needs? Is your partner doing that for you? Are you doing that for them? Is the effort actually showing up? Does it make sense? Because whether you know it or not, you have standards inside of your relationship, and so does the person that you're in a relationship with. Whether your standards are actually communicated amongst each other or imagined or watched on social media on a screen of what other people's ideal standards are for their relationship, or they exist in your path, some form or another. But stick to what's actually compatible with you and your partner, not what you're seeing on social media, not what the internet is telling you your relationship needs to look like, because that kind of effort doesn't belong to you. Sometimes it doesn't even belong to the people that are posting it, but it could screw up your dynamic because you're visualizing or you're overanalyzing a situation that doesn't even exist in your reality. And that's okay. It's not supposed to, or it just hasn't happened yet, but don't fixate on it. Focus on the actual effort that you're putting out and what you need in return. And learn how to understand your love languages without weaponizing them at each other or with each other. In my relationship, my love language, how I give love and how I receive love, are different from how my partner gives love and receives love. Is that a challenge? Absolutely. Is it impossible to work with? Absolutely not. How do we know that? Because we communicated our love languages to each other. Not rocket science, just basic communication. Sometimes that's all the effort that you need in a relationship. But regardless, effort on both sides, should be sustainable. It's not a highway and a bike path. It's not a mountain and a molehill. It's sustainable for you to give and receive, and sustainable for your person to give and receive. Otherwise, maybe the compatibility is just not there. For instance, I'll give you a couple bare minimums that would seem like a grand gesture to some of you guys who are listening. I only know this because they used to feel like a grand gesture to me, and now they are my normal. 1, opening a door for me. I think that's super nice. It's really courteous. Will does not ever walk through a door before I do. He holds every single door. He will not even let me open a door for myself. It used to be, wow, like that's such a chivalrous thing to do. Now I already know I'm not touching the door. I'm not touching it walking into a restaurant, into our house, into our car. It's not happening. He does that. Seemed like a grand gesture before. Now it's the bare minimum. Paying for meals, like I said before. Before my relationship with him, I wouldn't have had a problem splitting a bill with somebody or paying for myself. Now I know that's a bare minimum. He's always going to pay for my meal. He's always going to court me when we go out on a date or go anywhere. Like he would be so offended if I even tried to pay for something. Before, I would have thought that was a grand gesture. Now it's a bare minimum. Another one, this just happened. We were flying to and from my cousin's wedding, and he carried all of the luggage through the airport. We didn't check any bags. We took 2 carry-ons each. And I'm not shitting you. This man had his big ass Gucci duffel on one side, sprawled across, mine on the other, and 2 garment bags rolling through the airport. I was hands-free, baby. I think I had a coffee in hand and my cell phone in my back pocket, just rolling. And sometimes we even had the conversation in the airport where I'm like, oh, I feel guilty. Like I should be helping you. He laughed in my face. He was like, do you really think that I would even let you carry like, I'm not even carrying a bag. He's carrying 4 bags. He looked like a fucking pack mule. I'm not even kidding you. Also, hottest thing ever. I'm like, that's my guy. I was just waiting for some person to come up to me and be like, you're the worst person ever for letting your man carry all the bags. No one said shit to me, but I'd have been so ready if someone had, because he's a man. He's just like, dude, that is our bare minimum. He just shows up that way. So know what your bare minimums are and know what your grand gestures are, and watch as your relationship evolves. If those things change for the better, you're probably with the right person, because something so silly and so small can make such a big difference in your partner's life. Doesn't even have to be grandiose. It can be carrying your luggage through an airport. I mean, come on. Who would have thought that even mattered? And what are your standards? Do you know? You have to ask yourself, what are your standards in life or inside of your relationship for the effort that you are expecting? Are you coming up with these things on your own based on real evidence in real life? Or are you getting your standards from TikTok? Because I even have my moments. Yes, I do this too, where I read these like really powerful women and they're going off and everybody's in the comment section is like, yeah, let's go. Yeah, I do the same thing. And then when I go back into my relationship, into reality, and I put my phone down and I try some slick shit with my fiance, he's like, who do you think you are? What's going on here? I'm like, yeah, I saw this really empowering video and I thought this would be a really good idea to say. And he's like, you're stupid. Why would you? That's not who you are. You don't talk like that, or you don't act like that. And you're like, yeah, you're right, I don't. But then I have my own stuff that I put on social media that some other girl's probably watching and inserting into her relationship. And it makes no sense because my standards are different than hers. And the next girls are different from the next. So make sure that you're incorporating your own real beliefs and values and standards into your relationship, not just copying and pasting someone else's from the internet, because it's bound to not work. And if your partner knows you as well as you think they do, they'll probably be like, no. Let's not do that. And if you're trying to incorporate something new, great, but there's a way to do that slowly but surely to make sure they know it's a new standard, or it's a boundary, or it's a change that is consistent in your life. And then you can adapt it that way. But just trying to be somebody else's idea of perfect or effort or standard is inauthentic. So it will likely fizzle out quickly. And you guys know I blame social for a lot of this shit, because I think a lot of the relationship pages or people or creators have made relationships seem like they have to be performative, and they don't. And those could be realistic, and the kind of effort that the people in those videos or that are those creators that they look for or they need or is their normal, that's their baseline, and that's cool, that's fine. But just remember, you can't copy and paste somebody else's idea of effort or standard or performative. Like, you don't overperform, don't underperform. Just show up accordingly and put in the effort for your person inside of your relationship, and you will likely get what you want out of it. And there's probably so many small, little, tiny things that the person in your life has done for you that meant more to you than some lavish gift or some grandiose gesture. Sometimes it's the little things. That's why they say it's the little things in life that mean the most. It's a cliche because it's true. That's the truth. That's the beauty of it. Sometimes the smallest things make the biggest move in your life. And it just takes a little second to slow down and look at it and appreciate it and see like, wow, that didn't take that much, but it meant so much more than something crazy could have. Because you could have somebody who's occasionally disappointing or messes up or doesn't do things just so, but is very consistent in your life. And that's great. Because on the flip side, you could have somebody that's constantly impressing you or trying too hard or being grandiose, but they're super inconsistent and super unpredictable. I don't know what you would rather have. That's for you to decide. But I would rather somebody occasionally disappoint me or make mistakes just like any human would, and be consistent in everything else all the time, or just be consistently there for me. I think that's the healthier, long route of a committed relationship. All in all, the strongest relationships aren't on keeping score. All in all, the strongest relationships aren't built on keeping score. They're built on understanding what the other person wants before resentment shows up. So just keep that in mind and keep showing up. Before I let you guys go, we're gonna do a feral confession to close out the show. Here we go. Feral confession. I'm 28 and have been dating my boyfriend for 8 months. Last month, I flew home from a girls' trip. My flight landed at 11:30 p.m. I assumed he'd pick me up from the airport because that's what my dad always did for my mom. I love them already. Instead, he sent me money for an Uber and told me to get home safe. I was furious. To me, if a man cares about you, he comes and gets you. When I brought it up, he looked genuinely confused and said, I thought sending you a car so you didn't have to wait was the thoughtful thing to do. We've been arguing about it ever since. Is he giving low effort or are we speaking completely different languages? Well, I guess I have 2 points here. First of all, I love your parents. They sound fantastic. And I think your dad set a beautiful example of what you should expect out of any man. So if anybody's to blame here in a positive way, it's probably your dad. But no, I'm down with that. I think that I get why you're upset, and my fiance has the same frame of thinking. He's not letting me get in a car with a stranger. Doesn't matter if it's an Uber or whatever. He would want to be there. I get where you're coming from because this does make complete sense. On the flip side, to give him a little bit of credit, he sent you money for a car and wanted you to get home safe. But I do think that that was the bare minimum. That what he did for you was the bare minimum in this situation. It was nice that he thought of you and considered sending you a car or paying for your car to get there and hoping that you get home safe. Yes, bare minimum. But where his effort would have shown up if he would have, okay, I know my girlfriend's getting home at 11:30. I need to be at the airport by X amount of time, which means I need to leave the house by this time so that I can be at the airport to pick her up when she lands and she's getting out of baggage claim. That's effort. That's what he should have done. He fucked up. I get it. Like he chose the low effort route on this one. I'm giving it to you. Yes. And you guys are speaking completely different languages. So I would use this as an opportunity to explain your thought process and how you grew up seeing your father treat your mother and why you're like, just so you know, moving forward, I will always expect that you choose to pick me up from the airport when I get in, if we're on a trip and I'm separated and and you need to come get me. Just come get me. Just let him know. If he does this again, then be infuriated and then get in a fight. But in the meantime, just communicate that this is the effort level that you're looking for and don't send me a freaking Uber. Get your ass to the airport and pick me up. Thank you very much. All right, feral friends, I need your opinions on this one. To close out the show, I'm asking you guys a question, so I'm gonna need some answers. What is one thing that you consider effort that other people swear is a bare minimum? Drop it in the comments below, DM the show, or leave it in a feral confession on the website, whichever you prefer. But I need your answers and I need them now. And if you have any feral friends who are currently fighting over posts online, planning dates, how many times to text in a day, or who should have driven who where, make sure to share this episode with them so that they can tune in too, because apparently none of us know what effort is anymore and we all have a different version of it. Until next time, you guys know what to do. Stay feral, follow the show, like, comment, subscribe, all the things. I will see you next Friday. And in the meantime, have a feral Friday. I love you so much. Bye. Tell you who the fuck I think I am. You got a minute? Wow.